She came to the Wild West with nothing but shame in her heart, but what one cowboy saw in her changed everything. The arrival. The stagecoach wheels groaned as they rolled to a slow stop in the dusty town of Red Hollow, Wyoming. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a golden haze across the dry land, but for Eliza Hart, everything felt gray. She sat frozen inside the coach, her hands trembling in her lap. Red Hollow, the driver called out. That was her cue. That was her new life. And maybe, her last chance. Eliza swallowed hard and stepped down onto the dirt road, her worn boots barely holding together. Her dress, once a soft blue, was now faded and wrinkled from days of travel. A few townsfolk glanced her way, whispering quietly. They knew. They always knew. A mail-order bride, a woman with nowhere else to go. Her eyes scanned the crowd until they landed on a tall man standing a few feet away. Broad shoulders, weathered face, a black hat shadowing his eyes. He didn't smile, didn't wave, just watched her. "Miss Hart?" he asked, his voice low and steady. She nodded. "I'm Caleb Turner, her husband." The word felt strange, heavy. Eliza tried to speak, but her throat tightened. Instead, she simply gave a small nod. Caleb studied her for a moment longer than expected. His gaze wasn't cold, but it wasn't warm either. It was careful, like he was trying to understand something. "Come on," he said quietly. "It's a long ride to the ranch." The wagon ride was silent. Eliza sat stiffly beside him, her hands clenched in her lap. The wind tugged at her bonnet as the open land stretched endlessly around them. She had imagined this moment so many times. A fresh start, a kind husband, a place to belong. But reality felt different, colder, uncertain. "You don't have to talk," Caleb said suddenly. She blinked, surprised. "I know this ain't easy," he added. Her lips parted slightly, but no words came out. Because if she spoke, she might break. As the sun dipped below the horizon, they reached the ranch. It wasn't grand. Just a modest wooden house, a barn, and open land stretching into the dark. But it was quiet, safe. Caleb stepped down and offered his hand. She hesitated, then took it. His grip was firm, steady. For a brief moment, she felt something unfamiliar. Stability. Inside, the house was simple but clean. A small fire crackled in the hearth. "I fixed up the spare room," Caleb said. "Figured you might want time." Eliza looked at him, confused. "Most men," she started, then stopped. He understood anyway. "I'm not most men." Silence filled the room. Then, softly, he added, "You don't have to pretend here." That was it. Just a simple sentence. But it hit her like a storm. Her eyes filled instantly. She turned away, trying to hide it. But the tears came anyway. Silent at first, then unstoppable. And for the first time since she left everything behind, Eliza Hart cried. The truth she carried. The next morning, Eliza woke to the sound of wind brushing against the wooden walls. For a moment, she forgot where she was. Then it all came rushing back. Red Hollow, the ranch, Caleb, her new life, or the life she was pretending to have. She stepped outside cautiously. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of dust and horses. Caleb was already working, repairing a fence near the barn. He glanced up when he saw her. "You sleep all right?" he asked. She nodded. Good. That was it. No pressure. No questions. And somehow, that made it harder. Days passed slowly. Eliza kept to herself, helping where she could, cooking, cleaning, tending small chores. Caleb never complained, never demanded, but he also never asked about her past. Not once. Until one evening, the sky was painted in shades of orange and purple as they sat on the porch in silence. "You're running from something," Caleb said suddenly. Eliza froze. Her heart began to race. I'm not. You don't have to lie, he interrupted gently. Not here. She looked at him, her eyes wide. How did he know? I've seen that look before, he continued. People come out west for one reason, to leave something behind. Silence stretched between them. Eliza's hands trembled. She could lie. She should lie. That's what she'd always done. But something about him made it impossible. I ruined everything, she whispered. Caleb didn't react, just listened. I trusted someone I shouldn't have, she continued, her voice breaking. And when things went wrong, I was the one blamed. Her eyes filled again. They called me a disgrace. Said I brought shame to my family. She laughed bitterly. So they sent me away. Like I was something to be hidden. Caleb's jaw tightened slightly. People can be cruel, he said. That's not even the worst part, she whispered. He looked at her, and for the first time, he saw real fear in her eyes. The secret, I was going to have a child, Eliza said quietly. The words hung in the air like a fragile thread. Caleb didn't move, didn't speak, just listened. I lost it, before I left, she added, her voice barely audible. A tear slipped down her cheek. And somehow, that made everything worse. Like I wasn't just a mistake, I was a failure too. The wind picked up around them, but neither of them moved. I thought coming here would fix things, she continued. Give me a second chance. She looked at him, her eyes full of pain. But I don't think I deserve one. Caleb exhaled slowly. You think you're the only one carrying ghosts? He asked. Eliza frowned slightly. My wife died 3 years ago, he said. Her eyes widened. I couldn't save her. Couldn't save our son either. The words were simple, but heavy. I buried them both on that hill, he added, pointing toward the distance. Eliza followed his gaze. For the first time, she understood him. The silence, the distance, the pain, were both broken, Caleb said quietly. Then he looked at her again. But that doesn't mean we're beyond fixing. Eliza's breath caught. No one had ever said that to her before. No one had ever looked at her like she wasn't ruined. And for the first time, hope flickered. When the past returns, weeks passed. Slowly, something began to change. Eliza smiled more, laughed, just a little. And Caleb, he noticed everything, until one afternoon, a rider appeared in the distance. Eliza's heart dropped instantly. She knew that silhouette, that posture, that man. Stay inside, Caleb said firmly. But it was too late. The past had found her. The man dismounted, his expression cold and familiar. Well, look who ran away, he sneered. Eliza stepped back, shaking. You don't belong here, he continued. You belong with your mistakes. Caleb stepped forward. She belongs here, he said calmly. The man laughed. You don't even know what she is. Caleb didn't hesitate. I know enough. Tension filled the air. For a moment, it felt like everything might fall apart. But then, Eliza stepped forward. No, she said, her voice shaking but strong. I'm not running anymore. Both men looked at her. I'm not who I was, she continued. And I don't owe you anything. The man scoffed, then turned away. This ain't over, he muttered before riding off. Eliza's knees nearly gave out. But Caleb caught her before she fell. A new beginning. That night, the stars stretched endlessly across the sky. Eliza stood outside, staring at them. Caleb joined her quietly. You stayed, she said. Of course I did. She turned to him. Why? He paused, then said, because you're stronger than you think, and I'm not letting you face this alone. Tears filled her eyes again. But this time, they weren't from pain. Slowly, she took his hand. And for the first time since everything fell apart, Eliza's heart felt something she thought she'd lost forever. A future. If you believe everyone deserves a second chance, Hit subscribe for more powerful frontier stories like this.